It's happening. Richard, there's something I need to talk to you about. I'm really excited to get to our guest, but we got the first overall pick.
I know. What is that?
Right? For our non-sports friends out there, the Leafs had an 8.5%. I know we're not a sports show. 8.5% chance of winning the draft lottery. We freaking won it.
Just so everybody knows, my phone starts blowing up and it's dude from Ben. And I immediately knew what he was talking about. That's how excited he was.
Yes. It was a big night. It's been an emotional roller coaster if you've been a Leaf fan. Speaking of emotional roller coasters, let's dive into our guest this week. I'm so excited. I've known this beautiful, beautiful man since he was 12 years old, all the way up in the thriving metropolis of North Bay. He's worked in the dance industry. He's an entrepreneur like no other. He now currently owns a jewelry business, and we're going to get into all of it today. I'm so excited. Please welcome to the show, Justin DeBernardi.
Woo! Hi, Ben. Hi, Richard. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, I should have gone with DeBernardi. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. It was
Yes.
good.
Very good. Very good. Justin, it's been a minute since.
It's nice to see you. Yes.
Yes, you as well. You are looking fantastic. If you guys aren't watching the podcast on YouTube, go watch it and just see how good looking this beautiful man is.
Too kind. Thank you.
Right. Justin, take us way back to the very beginning. You've been an entrepreneur
to the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. Where were you born? Where did you become you?
I think when I take time to reflect, I realized that I think the entire entrepreneurship aspect of me has always been there. I think about being a 6 or 7 year old putting on shows, in the basement of my home. And yes, put on a show, that's the artistic side of me that comes out. But it was the show tickets, where I realized that, maybe there is something there, because I used to bill my parents, my brother, my aunts, uncles, the neighbors to come and watch the show. And I think upon reflection, I was just an innocent child putting on a show. But I think that's really the core of when my passion, for that started, if I was to do, any sort of reflection. And then my first business, I started when I was 16, which was pretty exciting.
Right.
It's actually interesting. I think as adults, we have a hard time sometimes charging people for our services but you as a kid already saw the value in what you were doing, that you're willing to charge your own family to see what you're putting on. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think a motto that has really stuck with me is that I've pivoted from feeling that I have something to prove and that I only have something to show. And I think walking through life with that mindset has really helped me in that particular aspect, because as soon as you don't feel like you have anything to prove to anyone and you're only showing, it really, really just reflects, even from an energy standpoint.
I
Very
think
cool.
so. Richard, I have a confession to make to you,
Okay.
my friend. This is actually the second radio style show I've ever hosted on. I remember once upon a time, Justin had this little machine that you could broadcast to a radio channel, locally.
Did do that, yeah.
Right? And we would hide in it's the crawl space storage section in his house, and that was our radio studio, and we would broadcast the show out.
I actually forgot about that. Really early podcasters,
right? And then
I need 5 minutes to ask questions here, because I was really hoping that these type of stories would come out in this. What did you guys talk about, and how many episodes? How long did you guys do this for?
I'm going to defer to Ben. I have no idea. I know we played music for sure. We probably did call-in contests. I remember doing that. I don't remember what the prizes were. But I mean, the caller was probably our parents. So
100%.
Nice.
Yeah. Wait, did we do a radio show for a French radio station too at some point?
We did. Yeah. Down in one of my mother's like offices buildings. We did do something down there.
Right. And
It
that
was
was like,
good.
we tried to get people to call in too. I don't think anyone ever did, but yeah. So, sorry, Richard, you're not my first, but
I see.
I do cherish you all the same.
That's okay.
Yeah.
This is special too.
Good. So Justin, take us back to 16. You start your first business. I know what it was. Like, enlighten our guests. What was that business?
I did at 16. I started a summer dance camp for dancers, aspiring dancers from the age of like 5 to 18. And yeah, it was a great opportunity. I think I realized really young that I loved teaching. At that time, I loved choreographing, and from the business mindset of me, if I could put out a product and grow it, I think it's something I was really interested in. And my parents like really encouraged me to do it. I did it with a really close friend of mine, and it's we have such great memories from doing it. To this day, we joke like if we had, if I had kids, like I don't think I would personally send my kids to a dance camp run by 16-year-olds. But I think it was a very different time back then. And the summer camp, it was in several different cities. We had hundreds of kids join us, and we scaled it. We grew it, and I sold the company at the age of 18, which is something I'm really proud of. And I think I realized, then that I had a really strong appetite for growing and scaling businesses.
Because it's your
That's
first business, I'm assuming you had like a real passion for dancing yourself. Obviously, you said the choreography and everything. Is
I
that something you've
did,
done
yeah.
since a young age?
Yeah, I started dancing at a really, young age. And I think the competitive spirit or the competitive aspect of dance and the athleticism really, did shape who I am as a business leader. And I did have a full dance career, and that's something that I'm also, very proud of. But at the end of the day, I think my true passion, as much as I love dance and, I love art, is business.
Can we get some highlights of the dance career? I know like we probably won't touch on it too much throughout the episode. I just like let's hear some names. Let's name drop.
Yeah, no, I had a beautiful dance career, something I'm really proud of. I grew up in, next to Ben in North Bay, and I danced at a dance studio, and then I went to a ballet school later on in my teenage years during the summer in Florida, and that really shaped who I was and my interest in dance. And then I went to what is now TMU for the dance program, and then eventually to Springboard, which was led by Alexandra Wells from Juilliard, and that really shaped my interest in dance. And from there, I had a great dance career from commercial to TV to dancing with commercial artists, which is good. I think one of the highlights is Madonna for sure. And I think after that, I just had fulfilled my personal goals as a dancer and moved on to the next business actually that shaped and built who I am today.
So Justin, you
Yeah.
danced with Madonna. That is so cool.
That is one career highlight. It was a great opportunity, and I think I learned a lot from it.
Do you
It was
do you,
it was
do you guys
lovely.
still text?
We're definitely not on texting basis.
Oh, okay, damn it.
Yeah.
I thought maybe there's
But
a
I am
chance.
very close friends with many of the people I got to work with, which was wonderful.
Nice. Very nice.
Awesome.
I don't think I've ever asked you this, but how did you get into dance?
My parents, I think, like, if I go back and look at VHS, there are countless amounts of videos of me like dancing in the living room, like putting blankets over my head, making costumes, and just dancing around. So I think that at a very early age, they saw that there was some interest there, and I think I've always loved it. I think I love the performance aspect of it. And obviously, over time, as I grew, I learned that I'm a very competitive individual naturally. So I think the competitive aspect of dance, was really interesting to me.
Right. Fair. Okay. So, you graduate high school. We go our separate ways. Sad.
Yeah.
Um,
But we stayed
and
connected. It was nice.
we did. You did visit me at Western. I
I
don't think I
did.
ever
Yes.
visited you at now TMU. Um,
Heartbreak.
that
Yeah.
is, yeah, no, that is my bad. But fast forwarding, I did come work for you for a little bit. So
You
that's,
did, and you were
yeah.
incredible, and we're
Oh
very
my God.
grateful.
Stop. But okay, so tell us about like your time after high school.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
what was the next business you hopped into?
after I need to like reflect for a moment, so make sure I don't like skip anything. But after high school, I mean, there was university, and then I think my focus was really like in the arts, and dance. And right after university and after having completed the dance aspect is when View was born, truly. And View just comes from, having grown up in the dance industry and realizing that the format of the dance competition industry was quite antiquated. And Kristen and I, my business partner, we just really sat down and we're like, we can offer, I would say what was a more upscale luxury product in a industry that hasn't evolved in many years. And that was 2013, and it just skyrocketed from there. The brand grew at the speed of light. And it was a touring production, really, at the end of the day, is what it was. And then, we included the educational aspect to it, and the gala aspect to it, and the convention aspect. And then it just grew and grew, and we added Australia, and we were in Greece. And then it just really became an international business. And, at the peak time of my time there in my tenure leading the company, we were like over 120, Ben being one of our shining stars. And it was great. I'm really proud of the work we did in that industry and how we reshaped the dance competition and the dance convention industry. And I to this day, I see things on social media, and trends, and these are of that industry. And these are changes that Kristen and I implemented really early on, like in 2013, 2014. And this is, from the client perspective, it's non-negotiables that now exist in that particular industry. So I'm really proud of the work we've done there, and the scaling was incredible. And then I sold that company post-COVID, which is something that I'm really proud of. And then I think after that, my entrepreneurship journey really exceeded. And that's something that we can get into, shortly after. But that's like the View aspect. Then, Richard, I'm sure you have questions. I'm happy to
Yeah.
narrow in. This is a really general, overview of 10 really wonderful years at an organization that I'm really proud of. And, to this day where they're at is just incredible to see for an industry that's so hard to monetize, and to make profitable, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we're like the generation of watching American Idol, right? That's what we grew up in the
Yeah.
early 2000s. So that's what I think you mean by like the old original, and you guys took something different and changed it, right? And then that's pre TikTok and like all these things that have kind of changed dance as well, right? Those type of trends. So you're in that
I
in
mean,
between
TikTok has changed dance in general, but I just mean more the traditional like competition industry. I think, Ben, if you think of, the festivals that you attended as a pianist, as a young pianist, that industry was so ready for evolution, and it really has been
Yes.
evolved. Yeah,
To sit there quietly and wait your
exactly.
turn. And,
Yeah,
we're running 48 hours late. Sorry, guys.
exactly. And
Like,
at the end of the day, it is a business and people pay to attend. And I think you can offer a great product with great customer service, with a production aspect to it. Yeah.
so I'm curious, Justin, when you and Kristen first sat down, you're like, okay, we're going to take on this project. Like, was there a 10-year vision? Like, what did that look like for both of you?
I think at first, our were still very young, you know, we're in our very early 20s here. We had a clear goal of what we wanted the brand to be. So I think beyond the 10-year vision, it was more focused on what the product had to be. And I think the 10-year vision came, you know, probably a few years after our first cycles, when we really understood the ins and outs and what we were doing, because we really bootstrapped this company from the ground up. Like, we did it all ourselves. I remember we started, like, there's a coffee shop, the Black Canary in Toronto, we would go to every single day. We were there like 9 to 5. The owner of that coffee shop is so incredible. And you know, we actually gave her one of our trophies just as like best coffee shop in Toronto when we moved into our first office, which was such a milestone for View. But yeah, I mean, the 10-year vision, you know, to answer your question, came shortly afterwards, and it was really clear of what we wanted to achieve, and I think we exceeded what we wanted to do as a business.
That's crazy how things evolve like that from the first vision all the way through.
Yeah,
My question
absolutely.
is, how did Ben end up working for you? Was that something that you reached out to him, or you guys got in touch? And what did Ben exactly do in the View?
That, I
Justin,
think,
go ahead.
yeah, I think if I remember, and Ben, you can correct me, because I think, you know, my that chapter of my life was quite hectic. You know, it was a flight every 3 days. There was no sleep. I lived on 4 hours of sleep, you know, for 10 years, which really took a toll on me. And it did equate to burnout, which is a really big life lesson for me. And I'm much better from it. But for Ben, I think Ben came in at a time of scaling, and I think came in as a host, if I remember correctly. And just as anyone does within a company, evolved and moved on to tabulating, and handling like client relations and other portions of the business for a few years, as Ben did his own journey and continued working. I think View is like a good gig to have because it's seasonal. So you can like tour with us for 3 months, fits in your calendar if that's something you're interested in, and then you can go on to do other things that you love and want to be doing.
Yeah, I actually my interview was at this infamous Black Canary coffee
Oh,
shop.
okay, there. See, so
I
you know, sorry.
Well, I had finished my undergrad, and like I had done health sciences, and I had this crazy like ambition. And I told Justin, I was like, I want to be an actor. And he's like, oh, you should come host. And at that point, I thought I was just coming to meet Justin just at the coffee shop. I haven't seen him for a while. I was like, hey, let's catch up. But Kristen is there as well, and it turned into like a full blown interview. And I don't think it went particularly well.
I mean,
Um,
you joined the team, so I feel
I
like it did go pretty
right,
well.
right. But yeah, no, I mean, I think did I work for you for like 6 years? Like it
Yeah,
was
it
quite some
was
time.
you were part of the team. You know, you were there when we expanded to Australia. You
Hmm.
were part of the original crew, which was, you know, a wonderful time of growth. And our mindset there was, if we can conquer Australia, we can expand anywhere else in the world from there. Because from a logistic and operational standpoint, you know, we really truly did figure out the furthest point where you could, you know, do business within our particular market.
Right.
But yeah, it was 6 great years.
Yeah.
You were even
Yeah.
there during the pandemic, so.
Yes. Yes. That's
Yeah, in
right.
Calgary, we had our testing site, all the parameters in place. It
Yes.
was a
What a time.
big transition for sure.
What a
Yes,
time.
what a time indeed.
Maybe being a two-time cheerleading champion helped you got on there, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. The cheerleading definitely paid off with calculating scores.
It
Well, that
did.
was like
It did.
you're a performer, right? Like even
Yeah.
karate, you were a performer, so it kind of makes sense.
Right. Right. Justin, looking back on that whole time period, um, give me two things. What's a highlight for you, and what's maybe a challenge you came across that you didn't necessarily expect?
I think that period, the View period of my journey, you know, what I'm really proud of is the brand that we built. I think that's a given.
I think that's
You
very
know,
fair.
the growth chart, the year over year success, the way we were positioned in the industry, and the team that we built is something that I'm really, really proud of, because, you know, we did bootstrap it. It's not like if we've had investors come in, it's all been just Kristen and I. You know, when people talk about blood, sweat, and tears in business, that truly is what it was. You know, the growing, and everything was organic. You know, it was just all an organic growth for that particular business, and there's a lot of great lessons in there. I think the biggest challenge that was unexpected for me was the emotional maturity of the market. I think people-led decision making, just in general, in that particular space with emotions, as opposed to strategic thinking or what is, you know, the most practical choice to be making, just in general in that industry. And that, I think that's something that I personally needed to adjust my mindset to, because I see things very yes or no, and the in between, you know, which is, I think, where this particular industry is. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's because we're talking about art, and art is art is subjective. And that was a really big shift that I needed to do. And it's also in part what led to me burning out as an individual, because the boundaries for me as a person completely slipped out of the window. I think I was so focused on growing the brand at the speed of light that my personal boundaries left the room. And upon reflection, you know, that is something that I sacrificed. And I don't regret it, because I'm really proud of what we've built. But if I were to do it again, I would do it differently. But every time I say that out loud, I like challenge myself, and I'm like, okay, but if I did it differently, would it be where it was today?
Right.
So
Right.
I do think, you know, the reason, you know, that it grew so quickly is also because my lack of boundaries. But I paid the price for it, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's something that I will never, ever do again. And I'm
Right.
really proud of, you know, the changes that I've made for myself and my health as a leader. And I think by having done that, I'm a much better leader, and I'm building a very healthy company for myself now.
If you don't mind sharing, like, what does that look like? You've left this business that maybe brought you to the emotional brink, or, you know, again, you want to put these boundaries, you want to get yourself mentally healthy again. Like, what type of things were you doing to get yourself there for your next business?
Yeah, I mean, first I took a break. So I took a nice long break where I slept and rebalanced
Caught
for
up
an
on all that
extended
those late nights. Yeah.
for an extended period of time. And then I did a lot of self-work. Like, I put in the work to be a better version of myself. Let that be like with a therapist, or let that be prioritizing myself and the decisions that I make, and going back to that motto that we talked at the beginning of the podcast, of nothing to prove, only things to show. And that mindset really, really um, changed me. And I think after my break, you know, I was like, okay, what do I want? Where do I want to be? What are my qualities? And I think I realized that I've always built something, right? I've always, since the age of 16, or technically since I'm putting on shows in the basement and billing people, it's always been, you know, uh, Justin putting on some sort of production. And I was, you know, thinking maybe there are lessons to learn in having a different type of life experience and working elsewhere, and just trying something else, seeing how all of the qualities and all of the hard work that I've put in can be beneficial elsewhere. So I did. I worked at an amazing agency. So this is like my corporate my corporate career. I worked at an amazing agency for a bit. I was there leading, you know, the launch of like beautiful luxury vehicles. I did a lot of like luxury and fashion and large events, and I learned a lot about the mindset of billionaires, which was like really interesting. And this was like kind of, you know, me working under that umbrella. And from there, I moved on to lead a Google-funded ed tech company, and I was their chief operational officer. So I was suddenly like in educational tech, and at that time is really when all of the hard work paid off because I was boundaried, if you wish, and I was a much better leader. And I really learned that anything really is possible. And then, my partner at the time, the jewelry brand kind of started to grow in the back, and then, the rest is history, but we can get into that shortly. So I think, Richard, to answer your question, it was really about, um, it's time, putting in the work, and then life experience is really what led to like where I am now, truly.
You looked into yourself and you listened and you took care of yourself. I think that
Yeah.
was really what that came down to.
Yes. And OKRs actually really changed my life in terms of like on the business side, how to be just better and how to grow a business. And I live and breathe by them, and they're
I'm sorry.
implemented
OKR?
into LNL. Yeah, objectives and key results. And we can chat about it if you want. It's something I'm very passionate about.
Yes,
Please.
let's have it.
Okay. Are you familiar with them?
I mean, other than like, I have a business plan, like,
No,
and we track we track how many appointments, like the whole 9 yards. But I've never heard it as OKRs.
let's do a deep dive.
Okay,
They were
ready.
introduced to me during my time at the ed tech company. The founder, the chief executive officer, that I worked with was like, Justin, you need to read this book. You need to apply this. It's it really changes the way you think. And I think reading a book, is what you get out of it, and you either take in or don't apply what you learn. But for me, it really resonated, and it was kind of like everything I've been doing or seeking and kind of just put in structure. So they're essentially like a goal setting framework that's used to align teams around what matters the most. And then you measure that against progress in like a really clear and accountable way. And the concept of OKR, the book actually is called Measure What Matters, and it's by John Doerr. And I think they were like first introduced, don't quote me on this, in like the Intel organization by their CEO, Andy Grove. That's what I remember. But essentially, objectives is what you want to achieve, and key results is how you measure success. So the objective is, something that's qualitative, ambitious, and directional, and the key results need to be something that's quantitative, specific, and time bound. So they're designed to be stretch goals within an organization. So you don't always hit the 100% of the goal. But what they do is they create alignment across your teams because everyone knows what matters. So it's transparent within the organization. So like at LNL, the entire team knows what everyone's working on, how we're getting there, and we're all accountable monthly. Where are you in relation to your OKR? Where are you in relation to the stretch goal? And a helpful way, I think, to think about it as well is like objectives is where we're going, and the key results is how we're going to get there. And this is something I'm like deeply passionate about. I think it's forced clarity within organizations, or every time I've utilized them, and it eliminates the really vague ambition that there could be, at work or in an organization, and replaces it with a measurable progress. And it's really important for growing companies. And I think the proof is in the pudding. Like if you look at LNL and what we've done in 2 years, it really is, thanks to the strategy and the hard work and the concept. And, there's a lot of factors, but the OKRs really, really helped. And then just to kind of drive the point home, I'll just give like an example of a good OKR and a bad OKR, because I think it's really important to understand the difference. And once again, I'm not an OKR expert. It's not my concept. This is just how
You sound like one.
this is just how I've implemented it into our workforce at LNL. But An example of a good OKR would be, let's say we want to position L&L as the leading attainable luxury moissanite brand in Canada this quarter. So how are we going to do that? We're going to, this is just a very generic example. We're going to increase the conversion rate on the website from, let's say, 5.5 to 6.5. We're going to reach X amount of conversions from Meta, X in revenue, anything that is specifically measured to a number, to tied growth, is a good OKR. A bad OKR would be like, we're going to improve marketing and we're going to do that by posting more on Instagram, or we're going to work with influencers. Those are things that you need to do, yes, but it's not a measurable OKR because it's too vague. There's no outcome. Those are tasks. And I think when you're working on OKRs, as a team at first, you often get a lot of task related OKRs. But the second everyone's on the same boat, on the same pulse, on the same breath, and the entire team has measurable outcomes, whatever it is to them, skyrocketing. Like the possibilities are endless. And yeah, I live and breathe by them. Honestly, they're not about setting goals. It's really about creating focus and accountability at work. Yeah.
It's so interesting. I find in the world of social media and
Yep.
scrolling through reels and all this stuff, corporate jargon gets a really bad rap,
Yep.
right?
100%. And
But
I guess you go ahead.
no, but I really think if you take the stuff that that resonates with you and actually
Yeah.
apply it, this to me is making a lot of sense. Um, I really think if you're an entrepreneur and you can take this stuff and apply it, it can be life changing.
I agree with you. I think it can be, and I think it's what you make of what you're given. I didn't need to take the book at face value, but it resonated with me at where I was in that moment in time for my career, from what I wanted to aspire to be. And I think at that time, from a business standpoint, like for me as a person, everything aligned, and I've been a much better leader and founder from that.
We'll find a way to throw an affiliate link for that book down in our
Yeah.
the description of this episode.
It's a good
What I
read,
like about
honestly.
Yeah. What I like about what you're telling me is that it's basically like any other goal setting, but you're following data, and data just doesn't lie, right? That's the evidence. And so when
Yep.
you're trying to lead a team and you want them all to be motivated towards that same goal, they're going to be motivated by the data, because the data isn't you with your biased opinions or anything like that. That's the vagueness. It's like 100% accurate. This is the truth, and no one can argue it. So everybody's easily motivated by the data. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I think, on the OKR note, it is normal to not achieve, the OKRs monthly. They are meant to be stretch goals. I think if every month your team comes to you and is like 100% achieved, you have work to do internally. You want to be always
Right.
working, and you don't want to confuse. I think what I'm trying to say is you don't want to confuse activity with impact. And I think that's important internally.
I think it kind of resonates with I go back to my coaching days when I used to coach ski
Yep.
racing, right? We talked to
It's true.
about pushing kids, and you'd want to, give them skills and challenges that would put them into what we call the challenge zone, where it's hard enough that they've really got to step outside that comfort zone
Mhm.
to try and hit those targets. But at the same time, it's not so challenging that they're terrified of doing it. You're not throwing them off the face of a cliff, being like, "Hey, go ski this," where harm could come to them. It's right in that sweet spot where it's like, this is going to be a hard thing to hit, but gosh, if we hit it, it's going to be great.
100%.
I think it's yeah. I was gonna say small businesses, on the scale of a 1 or 2 person business, you may lack data. So I think that's what we talk about, recording your stats and what you're doing every day, following along, trying to create your own data is important. Because your industry, like Justin, you're pulling stats from all sorts of data analysts and information, where not everybody's going to have that in the business. So that'd be the hard part, is how do you build an OKR if you don't have data or don't have anything to motivate you there?
Yeah.
I think it's the data. What I mean by data is what's happening, right? Like internally. So it doesn't. You can apply it in many different ways. Like in your aspect, as long as it's a quantitative goal, then you can do it because you have something to benchmark against for you as a person.
Yeah, I think in our industries it would translate to something like if your goal is to make like, 5 calls a day, 5 days a week, 25 calls a week for 4 weeks, right? Like we know you've done it before and you know how many you've made before, you know what that benchmark is, you know what you're trying to hit, you're trying to increase or decrease or whatever the case is. I think. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's like a good base point. I think that's the quantitative aspect, but then I think what the goal is for those particular calls would be the objective, right?
Right.
So the objective
Booking
would be
a
whatever you're
meeting or 2
trying.
meetings. Right.
Yeah.
If I make 20 calls this week, I should book 1 appointment next week, kind of idea. That's it.
Justin, before we dive full blown into L&L, because you're all over my social media and
Love to
Same
hear
now.
it.
I think
I
I
looked at the
need
website once and now I'm getting ads like crazy.
Yeah, it's working.
Good marketing team.
Yes. So those positions that you had in the corporate world,
Yep.
did you seek those out, or like how did you come across those? Was it kind of an organic thing, or was it something you were looking for?
It's a mix of both. So it's a mix of organic and seeking out. I think I was I've had a lot of leadership experience, but from a bootstrap perspective, which I think, some companies and some leaders are really, really interested in, and others see that as, more of a high risk approach when you think about the corporate realm. But yeah, they came organically, but I won't lie. Right after my vacation time, after selling View, I did want to challenge myself and learn. I think in the back of my head, I've always known that I wanted to build another company. I just didn't know what that looked like at that time. And I can confidently say I never thought it'd be jewelry. But I'm really happy that it's become jewelry, and I'm proud of what I've done with my partner, my life partner. But I did challenge myself by doing as much interviews as possible. I just wanted to learn. I've never been interviewed personally. I've always been on the other side of hiring and whatnot, and it was all from the mindset of just like do it, right? So I think in being put into that position in that space, I just learned a lot. Just about business in general. I'm more of the belief like a degree will get you far, yes, and I think it's good to have, but life experience is the way to go. So I life experienced uh and I did interviews globally for every position you can imagine. That was a fit for me. And I was just curious. I just wanted to know the perspective of others, of my experience or how I answered. And I was put into like really wonderful rooms and really challenging positions. And I think some people could see that as different, but it's something that I'm really proud of. And it actually, at the end of the day, got me at this Google-funded ed tech company as their COO. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, where did the mosquito stickers fit into all of this?
Okay.
Ben, you
I've
know
heard of
what?
this.
There, as I think, and I think having so many businesses, you focus on the major moment and the big wins. But even when you were talking earlier, I was like, oh yeah, there's also the time where Kristen and I, we were like, let's make a movie with our friends that went to TIFF, and it was so good, and
Oh my God,
dabbled
we skipped
into
right over
that. And then I had produced another film, with some wonderful people in LA, and that was a whole thing. But to answer your question, say no mosquito, I think during the pandemic, after selling the business, I did say I took a vacation, but in my vacation time,
Couldn't stop entrepreneuring.
I also had a moment with my partner, Louis, and you were like, it was the time where like these videos were really like TikTok, I was really on TikTok, and it was just like, you can do it, start a little internet business. And I was like, oh, where do we want to be positioned? And we came across like the concept of chemical-free mosquito repellent stickers. We had read like this case study about this company abroad, and we were like really interested. And I think, the healthy mom, the healthy family was really trending at that time, and it made a lot of sense as a market fit. So we're like, let's just do all the research and let's just do it. So we like did this in a week. We like hired designer for like the custom stickers. We did all the trademarking, whatever, everything that we needed to do. Sano Mosquito was born. It was like a uh, Asia Pacific market product. It did like so well out there, and we truly started this like without doing a lot of research. And then when it came to North America, we just got a reality check on importing products with certain ingredients that
Okay.
are related to repelling mosquitoes. So although there was no chemicals, because the product itself was called Say No Mosquito, it was essentially a claim that mosquitoes would not come near you. So that counts as a repellent, although it was an all organic product and it did work. So it was like years and years of research that we had to do. So we kind of just let it be a slow burn. But it will come back because it's a really good product. It's a really good idea. The 6 characters that were developed for the stickers for kids are amazing. And the Australian, Japanese, Singapore market, like loved them. So I think there's a lot of potential there. It's just more of a time and energy thing. So thank you
I
for
do
the
have
nice
these in my house.
refresher.
Of
My wife
course.
was, we had young kids right up to the pandemic. So like she was to your target market and you
Yeah.
succeeded because she bought them. They're in my house still.
Yeah, and it was like we partnered with Amazon, which was also like a really big lesson for me as a business owner. And it was, honestly, like transparently and something I'm open about. It was done on a whim. And the product, we did go through all the product testing, but it's something that we're like really proud of. Um, we'll come back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we'll come back.
Cool.
So about those movies,
Yeah, the movies, they were great. They were short films. They were flipped over, really quickly. One of them went to TIFF, and the director and one of the actresses in the movie are really close friends, and they have an amazing company now that does really great work, and they have great projects coming out. With A-listers, and I'm very proud of them.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes,
Ben, should we talk about life partner first or L&L? Because I feel like life partner
feel like
comes
they
before
go-
L&L.
I feel like they go hand in hand. No, just
Yeah, they got
they go hand in hand indeed. Yeah,
literally
Elena,
and
yeah.
figuratively.
My life partner is incredible, and I am eternally grateful to them and all of the changes that have come from being with them in my life. They're all so positive and so healthy. And Louis really did change my life in the best way possible. And he's an amazing partner. I think when you meet
Aw.
your person, you meet your person. But beyond that, LNL is actually, born from when we were looking to get engaged. And we realized that the industry has this traditional markup of over 500%. And that was kind of like the eureka moment for us, if you wish. We were like, oh, this is like interesting. I'll use the word interesting to start. And Louis comes from a fashion background. He, has a degree in fashion. He did a master's. He's worked a lot in that industry. He did a lot of writing for publications, took a little pause to be in real estate. And then, I know, fun fact.
We need to
And
talk.
then, and then he's just always wanted to have something of his own, and was like, I think I want to do this. I think I want to make our own pieces. So he did the rings, the original ones. This is pre-brand. They were incredible. We got questions about it all the time. And then I was like, Louis, just do it. Put your mind, soul into this. And honestly, that's like the birth moment, if you wish, of the brand. That's in 2021. Then we did 2 years of, research, building the team, learning the ins and outs. Louis is the designer. He is LNL. I come more on the operational landscape of things and growing the business.
You're
But
selling the tickets.
That makes us a great, yeah, sell the tickets. That makes us a great team. And yeah, LNL is born December, or went to market, I should say, December 2023. And it comes from that moment when we were looking to get engaged. And 2 years in, it's been beautiful. We're in 40 countries now. Last year we had a 600% year-over-year growth. We're going to beat that this year. And we can tell
Amazing.
from the data, and we want to build a legacy jewelry brand that offers high quality jewelry, but at a fraction of traditional cost. And I think the consumer mindset is changing. You don't need to do, and there's nothing wrong if that's, what you've chosen to do. But I think the 3 month salary for an engagement ring, is antiquated, and it's an old way of thinking.
Yeah.
And there are so many great alternatives out there. And for us, we focused on Moissanite, which is lab grown gemstone. And we're just offering like this beautiful jewelry at a fraction of traditional costs. We focused on traditional pieces first. And now we're like in our innovation cycle, if you wish, where we have pieces that are very unique to LNL, but changes the way that traditional jewelry is seen or felt. Yeah.
Innovation stage sounds fun, I will say.
It is fun. Yeah. Like we just, I'll give you an example. I'm actually, let me show you for those who are watching on YouTube. So this is the Flex Moissanite tennis bracelet. And it's kind of if you think of your traditional tennis bracelet, it has a clasp, right? Clasp is great. It's secure. But there are so many people with dexterity issues, or if you think of, the girlies with the nails, or guys with the long nails who don't love to do the class, or who want to be independent. This is the solution. And as opposed to your elastic, if you think of a hair elastic, which is what you'll usually see in design for this type of product, we actually have like L&L elastic metal in between, so the piece won't stretch over time. So it's something that we're really proud of, and it hits all of our core verticals and brand goals in terms of attainability and innovation and success and all that fun stuff. So yeah,
Very cool.
The more you know. Yeah.
That's so. What would you, Kate? Because we're selling this now.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone like me, who I've always been like the rope, the beaded like bracelet kind of guy, who's like never really gone into the, jewelry, and like, I mean, I wear a sports watch and a rubber ring, right? What's your gateway drug of jewelry for a guy like me?
A gateway drug jewelry from L&L, I would say you would go to the black Moissanite tennis bracelet first.
Oh,
so
that sounds
there's
hot.
The classic Moissanite, right? Tennis bracelet, which is the specs are the VVS1 clarity, decolor. So think of like a icy white, which is like the best specs you can have for Moissanite.
Right.
And then there is such thing as colored Moissanite.
Right.
But a common misconception in the industry is that they're all lab grown. Some of the colors are coated. And, if we get into some of our pillars, like transparency is really important at LNL. So these are things that we tell our consumers up front, because we're in the shoes of the consumer. And I think you can have a transparent business in 2026, as opposed to the traditional way that the jewelry industry works. But black is a color that you can grow in the lab. So think of your lab grown gemstone, Moissanite, but it is black as opposed to coated. And I think it's a really sexy tennis bracelet. And I think if you're not naturally prone to pick something that has, that shine or that fire of Moissanite, that double refractive index, black Moissanite's a bit more muted. It still has that shine, but it is quite sleek, and I think that'd be a good way in. But at the end of the day, Ben, jewelry is so personal, and there's no wrong answer. So it really is like what speaks to you is what you wear. And I know that Moissanite's not for everyone, but we are on a mission to make Moissanite a choice, not a compromise.
I
So,
mean, I
yeah.
will stand up here and say the engagement ring I bought my wife, it was definitely Moissanite, because I mean, you get beautiful products at, you know, fractions of what, like if that
Yeah.
sucker was a traditional diamond.
I'm happy to hear, Ben, that you did Moissanite. I think it's a great
Now, it was before you started your company, unfortunately.
it's a great choice to be making. But when we talk about like traditional pricing, I'm not sure how much you paid for your ring, and I won't ask you, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad. But if you think of like a traditional, let's say like on my pinky here, I have a 2-carat marquee ring. Like traditionally that ring will go from like 1,500 to 2,000, depends, things are changing. And apples to apples for the same material, ours is listed at 230. And so when you think about the jewelry industry and the traditional markups, there's a lot to unpack there. And I think for us, fair pricing was so important. And at first it was very difficult because there's a huge education aspect of the market. And years of really strong marketing from legacy brands, to undo. But you're seeing the shift in consumerism. So, yeah.
I have some
But there's nothing wrong with
questions
the ring you bought. You paid for a marketing budget. That's all.
I did.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's okay.
But it
now.
means something to the two of you, and that's all that matters at the end
Yeah.
of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
And getting into the jewelry business, like, because it's a new business, is the challenge the marketing? Is that like, I guess you're kind of addressing that right now. And like, what are you using on, like, how are you using social media to like counter that? Like, are you guys doing educational videos and whatnot?
For us, our growth has been extremely organic, which is something that we're really proud of. Like if you look at our socials, our main focus hasn't been like follower count or having like a really large, following. I think, if we talk about vanity metrics, and if we think about objective and key results, like it's amazing, yes, to have hundreds of thousands of followers, but if they're not engaged, it doesn't matter. And for us, the metric that we're after is conversion. So we do use social media, but how we actually used social media the most was through TikTok Live. And we believe that the future of shopping is through live shopping. And that's the number one driver of conversion education, for your question for LNL. And we can just answer all questions in real time for anyone who's interested.
So how often do you go live? Like, what's your plan on that?
We used to go live every single day. And that's really early on. And now as the business continues to grow, you have to evolve. So we go live weekly right now. And it's been a great way for us to stay connected with our core community. But we're a much bigger brand now, and there are many more puzzle pieces to the business. And we also reach our community through pop-ups.
Cool.
I think you guys do something really cool too, that you're building in plain sight. Like when I check out your social media and everything, like I'm always seeing you and Louis out doing your thing. Like, hey, this is what we've got going on right now, or hey, come walk with us while we check out our new billboard that's just up. Like, as like entrepreneurs ourselves, like it's very cool to see people building like the behind the scenes. It's yeah. It's amazing.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, I think we just wanted, a stripped down approach. And I think that's true to our pillar of we want to be an attainable brand. And I think affordability is subjective to your personal position. So, 230, let's say $230 for a ring is attainable for some people, but not everyone. But I think we can reach people in many different ways. So we are building out, as you say, in public, and social media has been a big component. Richard, to go back to your answer, to your question, pardon me, for LNL.
Yeah, I think what else I see is not just the brand, but like you're doing it with your partner. I think that's beautiful. I think that's like part of the whole process, honestly. I don't know.
Richard's getting giddy over there.
Ben knows my ambitions. I do have ambitions to do something with my wife And I think this is coming to reality. So I see what you have, and I'm like, oh, that's quite
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, I encourage it. It's it's changed our relationship, yes, because there's an entire business aspect to it. And I wouldn't be honest if I said that it didn't, but it changed it for the better. And I think getting to go to work every single day with your partner is amazing. Building something with your partner is amazing. Winning with your partner is amazing. I think a lot of people won't do it in their lifetime because um, I think as humans, and this is totally normal, we're very risk adverse. So when you think about doing something with your partner, it's all eggs in one basket, right?
Literally.
And that's very high risk. But I've always been high risk, so and I think it's paid off. Yeah.
Definitely. I've always kind of leaned on the fact that like my wife has a real job. so I mean, that's definitely it's two things. It's terrifying, but it's also very exciting.
It is. Yeah, it is. I think it's exciting. It's extremely rewarding.
Yeah. Especially if your skill sets complement each other, because then you're just going to do nothing but help each other succeed and pick up the pieces that us as individuals ourselves are trying to deal with. Like there's two sides of the business, like Louis the designer and you're doing the back end business part. That's such a great compliment. And where if it was one of you doing it, then one of you is trying to do that other part that you are very good at, and it wouldn't be successful. So you're only successful because of each other.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think complementing each other has been the best aspect and growth feature for the business. And Ben, you know me on a personal working relationship environment, and I think you know how it can be. I've come a very long way as a leader, but if you think of like meeting my match, like multiply that by 3, and that's Louis in a work environment. Yeah.
Amazing.
I kind of see where you're going, and I don't know.
Oh my God. Justin runs a tight ship. Let me tell you. Oh my gosh. If my tie was on crooked,
No,
he would dock my pay for a week.
That's not true. That would be unacceptable.
No, we were treated very well.
After this, I'm going back and watching some view clips, by the way.
Yeah, there's some.
I've never seen this. I never really watched much dance growing up. It's more my sister. I think
it's like it's children's dance, so like there's a line of like you probably don't want to like go out and seek it out unless your child is in it.
I guess I didn't know it was only children. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's an amazing competitive sport, and it's a massive market, and it's grown a lot, and especially in the United States, there's been a really strong global interest. You're seeing like the big investing companies like putting their eggs into the dance industry.
Thanks, dance moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Justin, I'm being cognizant of the time here. I've one like last kind of deep question for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. At the end of this whole life journey, you look back on everything. What do you want to be remembered for?
I think I want to be remembered for impact. And I don't know what that looks like yet. And I don't think I have achieved it yet. But I know it will come. I'm very confident that it will come. I think we have a lot of projects under development at LNL that will allow us to do that. And if I was to choose, that would be it. But at the end of the day, I just want to be healthy and happy.
I'm going to devil's advocate this a little bit because you told me ambitious is your word, or ambition. So obviously you're not settled. I can kind of see that. But like you've already made an impact. Like don't downplay that. Like the people that you've been a part of or supported or even been like, and obviously since highly of you, you've made an impact. So have some self-compassion on that. But I know you're.
Did I make it seem like I think highly of him? Oh, sorry,
you did. You did. But yes, just to play that part there.
That's very kind, Richard. I appreciate that. I think one of the downfalls, but also greatness to a competitive spirit, um, is that for me at least, there's a global ambition. And I think anything that I've done pre LNL has always had a very clear ceiling height for me. And once I reach that ceiling height, I know that it's time for me to move on. And I don't think there's anything wrong with moving on. And I think often it's met with a lot of resistance, and that's hard to um, grow out of. But since a young age, if we go back to the beginning, like I've known, and it's take it or leave it at face value, but I've known that as an individual, I will do something on the global level. And I think the global ambition, is what I see for myself. And it will happen with hard work and OKRs.
I admire that.
And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I speak for both Richard and I when I say we're very excited to see what happens next.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was so lovely to speak with the both of you.
Yeah,
Um,
Justin, thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy. To our listeners at home, I missed our last scheduled recording. It was the first recording I had missed. I'm coming clean live on the episode. I need people to know that I'm very sorry.
Can't live with that on your conscience, eh?
But Justin, let me just say I appreciate you as a human being, as an entrepreneur, and as a friend.
Likewise, right back at you.
Oh,
Appreciate it, Justin. I feel like I learned something today, so thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
yes.
having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
You too.
Richard.
I just want to say for our listeners that haven't got a gift for their wives for Mother's Day somehow this late, we're going to put the website link in. Oh, wait, this is going to be past. What am I doing?
Yeah, so no, I think this applies just as much. If Mother's Day has gone by and you didn't
Yes.
get the mothers in your lives something, head on down to L&L.
We've
Right
got
now.
options for you.
The link is in the description of this episode, damn it. Go down there, click on it. And I know personally, I'm going to be checking out some of the black moissanite. It sounds sexy. Does it not? I mean, like, you've been on the website too. So Justin is all over my social media feed. Like, I cannot scroll anything without seeing his beautiful, beautiful face. And so does my wife. And my wife has a very clear wants list from this company. So, yeah, I haven't ordered anything, so we better get on that, I guess, eh?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a place to keep shopping. I'm always looking for little things for Emily. I like to spoil her, so
You're such a good husband.
try really hard.
Oh my god. As always, everyone, make sure if you enjoyed this episode, you let us know. Comment down below, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, it doesn't matter. Let us know your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed yet, how dare you? How dare you? Smash that
Starting to get
subscribe
personal.
button. It is. I'm offended. Damn it. Hit that subscribe button right now. But just remember, at the end of the day, we appreciate every single one of you. Love you all. As always, thank you so much for stopping by our open house.
Hope you enjoyed the time in the chat, and we'll see you the next time the house is open.
Bye.
Bye.